live coaching session with the Bodybuilding Vegan and Sean Russell. What it's like to work with me, let's find out. This is just like hanging out.
It's been a while since we've done one of these.
I know. Let's see if we break our track record. I think we're 1 for 1, or 1 for 2. One of them has worked out of the 2 that we've done, but I think we will. We got a little drive to Dina's Deli. I'm gonna go hype them up, help them for their 7th year anniversary, and the Knicks. Driving back to Knicks on Monday, and they got their 7th year anniversary. So,
and for those of you who don't know Nick,
Vegan International Co. Come check them out. This will probably be a little too late to check out their 7th year anniversary, but they're open 7 days a week, 11 to 7. I was thinking about that, 7-Eleven. Like, could they be open from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m.? I think they're like 24 hours, but still. Anyways. All right, on to you. On to coaching. How long have we been working together? I don't even know.
The coaching? Ooh, I feel like it's definitely after September 2nd, because that's when I started.
Yeah.
It was a time when we were together that I mentioned it.
The Veg Fest in Atlanta. That was like...
No, it was it? Or was it the Tampa? No, yeah, because Allie was there. Yeah, okay.
Allie was there. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That was, I think, August 25th. Dude, my days are remembered not by normal things, but like vegan events.
The landmarks of your life.
All right. So you decided to sign up at that time. Let's give some backstory on you. Why did you want to work with me, and what did you want to do at that time?
So at that time, I was starting my 111-day journey, and it's pretty much sprints that I live my life by every once in a while to have a major goal happen. And I've done it several times with success, but this time is different because I'm actually building a system and process behind it. So I wanted to do things a little bit differently in the domain of my health, and I've had a front row seat to what you do and a back row seat, and I'm like, okay, if anyone's gonna help me with it, it's gonna be John. And then it was around that time I was like, okay, I'm ready, I'm gearing up for it, this is what I would like to do. And we had that conversation.
So to clarify, this was health-based or physique-based or both, or? It's
more a little bit of a combination of all of that, but even more so physique-based, because I'm thinking I'm going to be in the public eye a lot more, and I want to show up powerfully. Even if it's not how people perceive me, but how I perceive myself, because I know the levels that I can go to, and I'm not operating at that. So no matter what I say to myself, body positivity or what have you, I know that I'm just being lazy and I could work harder and get to that point because I've done it before. So that was my motivation, and then obviously everything comes with that. But at the time, it wasn't necessarily like I need to improve my health, I'm feeling sick, I need that. It was just more, I want to look better.
Makes sense. I think that we're all walking billboards. That's why I don't go anywhere without a vegan shirt. And the first thing, whether or not we like it, I do think humans, historically and through nature and nurture, are taught to judge other people. And not necessarily judge out of like hate or anything like that, but for example, if somebody really fit walks into the room, usually the first judgment is like, oh, they work out. They make time for that. Maybe they're stupid and all they do is pick up weights, but they still make time for it. Or if somebody has really nicely dressed clothes, you're like, oh, that was intentional. They look well put together. So when you walk into a room to be somebody's brand manager, or to promote your own brand, or to speak on some level of authority, think of like motivational speakers. I think it's Tony Robbins, maybe. He looks fit from what I can recall.
Yeah.
Like, he's not 400 pounds. I don't know any 400-pound motivational speakers. David Goggins, not out of shape. In some of like their physicality carries into that. And I can say in my own journey, through job interviews, through having employees, as I've grown physically, people treat you a little bit differently. So it can kind of almost be a way to level up whatever playing field you're in, unless you're simply behind a screen or you're building a faceless brand. Like Nike doesn't have one person that is the brand. But when I think of Sean Russell or Lasar's Media or VegansExplore, you kind of are the face of these things. Whether or not you like it, you are. So I think this is a good opportunity for you to level up some of what that initial first encounter is that people see.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So we've gotten the why out of the way. Let's dive a little bit more into the what and the how. What have you done in the past? Because I know you told me off air that you've been in the transformation space for a while. Mm-hmm. You've already kind of gone down this road of weight loss before, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the first time that I lost a significant amount. So that's a little backstory. I grew up heavy. I remember in middle school, I weighed, this is like maybe 7th grade, I weighed 140 pounds. And I remember that being a big deal when I went to the doctor's office. So I never had a lot of confidence when it came to how I looked, even though there was evidence that I probably should. And it wasn't until like I went into college that I really started to take care of my health and lose weight, and that was the first time I had a significant drop. So I went from around 211, 210, actually like 220, and I dropped all the way to around that time I dropped to like 170. But it was very lean because I remember at the time I was taking a fat burner that I think has since been made illegal. I forget the name of it.
Probably something with ephedrine in it.
Yeah, something with ephedrine. But I was like dropping weight to the point where my family saw me. My dad saw me after a while, and he was like, "Damn, like, what's wrong with you? Are you okay?" But what I will say, I noticed the attention that I got when I was that size. Regardless if I was skinny or whatever the situation, people treated me differently. Women that I was interested in were interested in me. A lot of things just started falling into place. And usually what happens is that stays the course until I have a life-altering event. And then that doesn't become my priority anymore. Or I get sick, and then I have to take a couple days off, and then I lose my routine, and I don't jump right back into it. I go on vacation. There's usually something that kind of derails me, and I slowly go back to where I was. So my life has been back, forth.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much the backstory. And but I have been lifting. There's periods in my life where I got really serious about lifting weights. I have a personal trainer once a week who would show me what to do at LA Fitness. And I get muscular. Like, the thing I notice is that after if I stop working out for a while and then start again, it usually comes back like 2 to 3 months to a point where I feel good in my body and want to take it further. So that's essentially what the backstory behind my fitness. And then obviously I've been lifting weights, not obviously, but I've been lifting weights since high school. So we're looking at maybe 30 years of lifting and following advice and training and watching videos and all that type of stuff.
So you already have an idea of what you need to do. I would say that's pretty fair. You've already done some of this before. Mm-hmm. That's fair as well. And from a coaching standpoint, I really try to drive home people's whys first. Mm-hmm. So you've already gotten that out of the way for us right now. But that's what we're going to fall back on when things get hard. When, like you've told me before, mm-hmm. I asked you, do you want some green bites? And you're like, this doesn't really fit my goals. Do I want the green bite as much as I want to derail my progress? Mm-hmm. And I think that's a really, really strong way to look at it. I mean, we're going to an event right now where we could eat all we want. We love and know the owners, and they would give us all the food we asked for and more. I'm going to try and just have a salad today.
I swear to you, that's what my eye's on. Like, I'm gonna have that salad. I'm gonna keep it, and then maybe we could talk about this in this conversation as far as just and I know I'm derailing from the structure that you're doing, but I just want to make this point of, for me, I synthesize information, and this probably doesn't work in the coaching dynamic, where I like to get inputs from different people and then do my own thing.
Yeah.
And I can honestly say that's a comfort zone of mine, but it's also a strength.
Yeah.
And the possibilities of what I can synthesize if I actually follow the program for a bit, rather than just try to have it my way. I do see that.
Yeah.
You know, it's really just the idea of committing to it, and yeah, it's about committing to it.
Yep.
So yeah,
it's always, you can call it scary if you want, or uncomfortable, but to do something outside of your comfort zone, it's never easy. I mean, in my own journey, I had been self-coached, doing my own thing, writing my own meal plans, writing my own training plans for around 11 years before I hired my first coach. And the day he sent me the meal plan and the training plan, I almost had a panic attack. I was just so unsure of, how am I going to do this?
In what sense?
It's not what I'm used to. He's telling me to eat TVP. I've never eaten TVP before. I'm supposed to have seitan. I've never made seitan myself before. This is overwhelming. This is hard. These are workouts different than the workouts I do. And
for me, to that point, with what we're doing right now, I love the fact that it's laid out. I can follow it. I'm picking up pieces of it. But my challenge is the amount of food. Like, I don't normally eat that much, and even I was eating oatmeal yesterday, and it felt like I had to force it down. Like, I felt like it was just too much food. So
I can tell you were eating that much food as far as calories are concerned. Maybe we have transitioned your food to more nutrient-dense food that isn't quite as high in calories, that has more protein and more fiber, so you feel fuller.
Mm-hmm.
But I can guarantee you the calorie level I have you set at now is less than where you were to be up at 220 pounds when we got started.
Mm-hmm.
It maybe just didn't feel like it mentally. And maybe you weren't tracking everything. And maybe you were having fluctuations where some days you'd eat
for a fact,
4,000 calories, the next you'd eat 4,000 for 3 days, and then one day at 1,000.
But the difference is it's one meal. Like, I'm eating literally like one meal a day. It's a huge meal.
Mm-hmm.
And I can process that easier than having, like, I'm not used to eating breakfast like that. I'm not used to eating lunch like that.
Yeah.
I save up my hunger to the end of the day, eat something that I probably shouldn't be eating. Yeah. And then that's pretty much, and I maybe I don't even snack really. And that's what I eat. But it's a lot of food in one setting, and I'm sedentary, and I'm not doing any activity and what have you.
Yeah. And so that's basically what I'm trying to do as the coach, is lay out proven systems
Mm-hmm.
that have worked for other people as a baseline template to get us started,
Mm-hmm.
and then customize it for you as we go. That is why the biggest issue we've had so far is getting feedback. I didn't know right now that you're feeling so full. We could have done cream of rice instead of oatmeal. We could have maybe still pushed out breakfast or done like a protein iced coffee. That way we're still, because we can basically turn on muscle protein synthesis 4 to 5 times a day. So even if you only eat 2 meals, or we'll say 3 meals, then you have an intra workout and a protein shake. That's 5 times that you've told your body, let's build muscle. As opposed to before, when you had that one meal, you got one time.
I am digging the intro workouts because they're easy to drink and consume. I like that. I do the well, no, I don't do these things. I modified it, and we had that conversation for the purposes of this video.
Yeah.
He suggested I do Say Grace, the protein. I started doing that, and it was cool. Then I switched to another version, and it almost gave me permission to say, "Whoop, I'm not going to do this anymore because I didn't like it." Instead of talking to you and maybe you offer me alternative or asking me how I'm cooking it or what have you. And I went to like an old staple of mine, which are the Gardein tenders. I think they're big tenders or whatever, because that's what I was eating before. So it's almost like being able to have a little bit of what I used to have in this particular scenario. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, I'm only eating one of the, which is, I guess it's out there. I'm only eating one of the meals. Like I have yet to eat the beans and taco one that you mentioned. But I have been doing the one with the sauce. But lately, actually, I've stopped using the sauce, and I just do the green beans and the avocado and the protein. And I put the salt. Try to be mindful to put the salt to get the iodine and everything on there, and then I would just eat that, and that would be like, honestly, my one meal. I feel like I eat way too many peanuts. But it's just kind of like, you know what? I didn't really eat anything today. Let me eat the peanuts. So I'm telling you everything so you know everything right now. I'm just thinking if there's anything else that I'm leaving out. I haven't been doing the fruit with my peanuts. You had an orange with that. Because the only orange I really like are the sumo oranges, and they're out of season.
See, all very valuable information that this is why the athlete check-in form is so important, so that I get a weekly update. Maybe he had been doing the oranges for 3 months, and then, oh, hey, they're out of season. I need something else. But I told Sean, let's sit down and do this in person. Let's try to get on the same page, and then let me see how I can step into the role of being a coach. Because, Sean, you are my brand manager, and you've had me do things 3:33 arrival, 33 minutes away, 33 miles away. That's nuts. I'm going to take a photo of that. Wow, good eye, sir. I was like, oh no, did I miss an exit? Nope. We are right. We are clearly, the universe wanted us to have this conversation on this route. Anyways, wow, that's funny. So funny. Okay. When things happen like that, it's like the universe is like, you're doing the right things. So I'm glad we're having this conversation. The universe wanted us to have this conversation, Sean. And you are my brand manager, and you asked me to do things that are uncomfortable for me. The first was investing and getting on the phone with you. So I was like, is this going to waste my time? Is it going to waste my money? The two things that are most important to me, basically, not because I want to be some rich person, but I want to use money to influence the world and help it go vegan. So should I use Sean? Can he help my brand? He's asking me to do things that are a little uncomfortable for me. And it's worked. He's taken me outside of what I know, outside of what's comfortable, pushed me into new situations, new settings, which allow me to grow. And so now it's my turn as a coach to do that for you, because you've always eaten the one meal a day. You've always snacked on the peanuts without counting them. You've always had these fluctuations where I like how I'm looking, I'm going to get back into being fit, I'm feeling good, so I'm sticking with it, and then, life happens, I'm falling off. And I want you to start developing these long-term processes paired with the data and the results. And yes, if we eat one meal off today, that won't ruin everything. But we have, the car says fitness for their license plate. That's hilarious. We have a lot of opportunities here. I'm just hearing opportunities. And I appreciate your vulnerability of having the balls to tell me on camera and to my face that, shit, I haven't been doing this. I haven't been doing that. Because that's where we need to push you. We need to push you into these areas and give it a chance. And once we have your diet locked in, and once I know that these oranges are out of season, I need to update the meal plan, then I can do so. And then I can guarantee your continued progress, because what you're doing is what works so well for you in other aspects of life. You're feeling out, getting all this information, which is great. If you were self-coached and still in what I consider the experimental phase, like the first few years that anybody's training, I love for them to be experimental. If somebody comes to me with 4 or 5 years of self-training, it's so much better than coming to me with nothing, because they're like, hey, I love these exercises. I can push hard on these. These one kind of bother my knees. This food I'm allergic to. This food digests well. This food doesn't. And then I can take that information and build out the best plan that I can think of at that time, and then adjust it going forward. For you, I can already tell that from you when you talk to me. You ask me about an exercise or about a food or about a this or a that and say, hey, I just learned about this. Can we implement it? Some we can. Others, I can basically guarantee this works for 99% of people. Let's go this route until it doesn't work instead of always trying the next new thing. In fitness, it is finding the things that work consistently and then consistently applying them. And some people hate it. I've had clients run training plans for 6 to 9 months straight. And after 6 months, they say, hey, we've been doing these workouts in this order with these reps for 6 months now. What gives? Like, my old trainer changed the plan every month. And I know they're thinking, is he a lazy coach? Is he not changing it because he's lazy, because he doesn't want to put time into it? Then I asked them, have you still been losing weight every week because your goal is to lose weight and build strength? And they say yes. And I said, have you been getting stronger or getting more reps every time you go into the gym? And they say yes. And I say, okay, so we're literally doing like best case scenario. We're losing weight and we're getting stronger every week. Why would we change now? Why would we shift gears? It's like you're on a race to the moon and your rocket ship is doing great. And you're like, well, maybe we should try a different one or go in a different direction. And so once we hit that roadblock, once strength stalls out, once a movement no longer works for us, then we can start to change. But for right now, my advice to you, as your coach and as your friend, and as someone who's mutually invested in seeing you succeed, is let's lock in. And if something doesn't work, if something's broken right now, like the oranges or the Say Grace, we need a different way to cook it, then let's figure those out together. And that's where I need you. And you've told me too, like when Brooke or I have something that doesn't work, we come to you and you find a solution. That's your value, that's your job. Not just to blindly give a plan and say, go follow it and I'll see you in a month. It's to get that continued feedback so we can keep building these processes and working on them. So
I can respect a strong process. That's what I live my life by. So
yeah.
And landed.
And you manage a lot of other people. And so do I. And still, some of the hardest parts of my life are letting other people manage me.
They say teachers are the hardest people to teach.
I believe it. I believe it. And you'll probably bring some things to the plate. I mean, I think what's cool for me from coaching is I work with a lot of different people. I can notice trends before anyone else. When 3 or 4 of my clients, when 10% have gotten an illness, I'm like, oh, this is about to start hitting around. And then it does. You see it in the news the next week. I can kind of sometimes see things before they're happening, or certain supplements or something like that, or protein powder that is not working for them. I'll get all that feedback and I can apply it to the rest of my clients. So it's like, it's not just my knowledge, it's the knowledge and the feedback that I'm getting from so many people. New exercises, things like that. And even clients that have helped bring some other things like hormonal issues to the forefront of my knowledge that I'm now able to apply with all the different clients. So this is my expertise. This is my realm. This is where I know it. You might be able to use those feelers and go find other ways to get to the moon, but I got the straight shot. And if we stay on this, I can push you there the fastest way possible. So I appreciate the vulnerability. Not everybody does this. I get clients that just say, oh yeah, everything's working. And then I never really hear from them again. And I kind of know. If somebody's not talking to me, it's only one of two things. Either everything's going great or nothing's going great. So as much as it can kind of be a pain at times, clients that text me literally every day, I know those are the ones that are working. If they have energy to tell me, hey, this is working, this isn't working, I need an update here, I know they're getting the help they need. So that's the biggest thing here. We need to get on our check-ins and resume and begin that formal communication. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Because then I can keep you where you want to be going.
Logistics-wise, how do you want I know you have everything in the writing, but how do you want the video check-ins? That's of me working out. Or do you even want that?
Oh, video form reviews?
Yeah.
I want that more than I want your actual check-ins. If I could only, as a coach, see your training footage or see you step on the scale and check in with me each week.
You actually want me to see me step on the scale?
No. I'm saying, like, if you were saying, hey, I can do one or the other. I can record 4 or 5 exercises 4 or 5 days a week and send that to you for your review and for me to implement. Or I can send you my photos and my weigh-ins once a week on the weekends. What do you want? I want the training footage. It's not that hard to eat a meal plan. It's not. It's hard in the sense that you have to cook the food, you have to stick to it, but putting food in your mouth and chewing and swallowing versus squatting 500 pounds for reps, which one's hard? Now, if you're a competitive pro eater like Bartley Weaver, okay, maybe the eating could be hard. But for most people, eating it's kind of a skill. I mean, you should slow down, you should chew your food, but it's not a very hard skill to chew and swallow. But finding out how to do dumbbell incline bench press or Smith incline bench press or execute a deadlift to failure or any of the other things that might be in your plan, that's hard. People spend decades trying to perfect that. People don't spend decades learning how to chew their food. Most don't. So, yes, I really do want training footage. And what I ask for my clients is, save my time. Don't send me the 30 seconds of you walking around the gym tying your shoes. Cut it to right when you're about to start. And I want to see about 5 seconds after. Because if you set the weights down and you're like, okay, that was easy. I'm going to tell you, go give me 5 more next week. If you set the weights down and you fall over on the floor and collapse, as long as form's good, I'm happy. That's what I want to see. Because most people are inherently way stronger than they believe they are.
So you just want to see a part of a set? A part of a rep?
No. I want to see the full set.
Okay.
So as it's outlined in your program, every working exercise that we have, so like Smith incline, I want to see your heaviest set from start to finish. And then if you have a machine bench press, start to finish. And try to send those to me on the same day that you film them so that I can get feedback to you. So that I can say, did this bother your elbows? How did this feel here? Do you think you could go an inch deeper? Could we have done 3 more reps if your life depended on it?
And what's your expectation for me sending that to you? How often?
Every workout. Because that is the biggest area of variance. If you're following a meal plan and weighing food on a scale, there's no variance there. But if you're going in the gym and half-assing it, you're never going to... You sent me a photo that you wanted to look like. If you go in the gym and half-ass, you're not going to look like that. You're going to have to work to get there. And I don't just mean show up at the gym. I don't mean just go through the motions. I mean train as if somebody's life depends on it. Train as if an animal's life depends upon it. Push yourself. As I told you before this conversation, I was now worried for my last really big sponsorship change or the possible uncomfortable conversation that was going to be had there. I was worried about the leg day a couple hours before because nothing in the world could be harder than that. And so I think for me at least, it's a little bit freeing. Nothing that happens in the real world is that hard compared to a hard set of hack squats on leg day. And that's why I need the training footage. That's why it's so important. That's why I would say the training footage is more important than you stepping on a scale. So that's why I charge what I do. A lot of coaches don't do that. A lot of coaches will not ask for or will not review footage for you because it takes a long time. If I got 40 people 5 days a week sending me 5 sets of 5 minutes long, or 5 sets of 1 minute each, so 5 minutes, that's a lot of time. That's a lot of screen time for me to be watching, reviewing, and then expecting it to come back the next week even better. So
does it matter? I'm talking like logistics. Does it matter if it's horizontal or vertical?
Nope. I just want you pretty much head to toe. I've got some guys that refuse to use a tripod, so they'll put their phone up in front of them with their water bottle dumbbell bench pressing, and pretty much all I see is a great shot of their crotch. Doesn't really help me. So I know you don't have a problem with a tripod. Vertical or horizontal is fine. I had one client, big YouTuber, over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. He's like, well, I'm going to make training footage every day to put on my YouTube channel. Can I just send it to you horizontally so I don't have to film twice? I said, of course. Film your sets, go make your YouTube video, and then send me the sets. And then that way I can watch each one and reply to it. Hey, dumbbell incline, that looked great. I want to see 2 more reps next week. You did 8, I want to see 10.
Because what I can say, it's not obviously the day I did it, but I did film the time I did. I don't mean to laugh. The time I did the, I think it was the pull. It was either the push or the pull. I feel myself doing the whole thing, and the other thing that I do in PP is I have a warm up that I do, and I push the sled. So I push, and I have it in the video as well, but I'll send that video to you. I push the sled, and first I do a dumb kettlebell. Then I push the sled with 2 plates on it, and 25-pound weight dumbbells on it. And then when I get to the end, I do the dumbbells. I don't even know what these are called. You lift your arm up and you push it up in the air.
So why do you do this?
Because I was when I had a trainer at one point, it was one of the things that had me doing the routine, and then I just kept it as a part of my routine. And I feel like it conditions my cardio because of how frequently I do it. I noticed the last time I did it, my cardio improved a lot from doing it.
So here's a few things. Again, you're still trying to write your own code, as opposed to listening to what you've paid to be instructed to do. I don't really have a problem with you setting up your own warm-up in your own sense, or even adding a little extra. Maybe you got shoulder injury, so you do a little extra rotator cuff work. But what you're telling me right now is you're going into the gym when the most important thing to you in the world should be lifting more weight than the prior week or getting more reps, because that is what builds muscle. And that is the hardest thing to do as a human. It's not that hard to build up your cardio endurance, but it is hard to build muscle. And if you go in and you do cardio or sled pushes before a max set of squats or a max set of bench press, you're taking away from your capacity as far as performing for those movements. So again, back to that photo that you've sent me with a muscular individual, and that's what you want to look like. We're just making that road to getting there that much harder. So again, if you had conveyed some of this to me, what I would say as your coach is, if you love that stuff, do it on an off day. If you love that stuff, do it post-workout. But you doing it pre-workout is only hurting your workout. And it's making it harder for you to get to your perceived goals. And if you can listen to your old trainer, then you can also try new things and find new things to take forward.
So the adjustment so what I'm hearing you say is, it's not that I can't do it, but it shouldn't be the first thing I'm doing, because I need to be hitting personal records on each time I go there.
Yes. Okay. Your time would be better spent on the weights for your goals than that.
That works for me. Because you're not telling me I can't do something. You're just telling me do what I ask you to do first. And if you have time, do what you want to do. If you have time and energy, do your thing. And that works for me. That works for me. Not to say that if it didn't work for me, I wouldn't do what you're saying. Just cut myself. But
that's okay though. If I tell you to do something, you're like, that won't work for me. I fucking hate lifting weights, but I love pushing that sled. All right. We might have to readjust our long-term goals and what we want to look like, but I'll find a way for us to attack that fucking sled and get the most out of it possible and readjust. But if the goals are still the same, then I do think we should prioritize what's going to get us towards our goals the fastest, and potentially in some cases, you know, if you became really great at pushing the sled and that detracted from how much you could lift, it might even limit, like give us a ceiling, an artificial ceiling on how far we can take your training. So yeah, a big thing that I drive home with pretty much all my clients is like cardio is, there's only 2 reasons you do cardio. One is to improve your heart health or become more athletic. And that's great. You pushing the sled will allow you to be better at a top set of hack squats, as it will improve your cardiovascular ability and not allow your heart to be the thing that limits you from going to failure. And that's one aspect of cardio. And we usually get enough of that anyways. If you were like a soccer player, I would have built your training split differently. The other aspect of cardio, and the one that I primarily use it for my clients, is simply almost a diet tool. I can either help you lose weight by taking away 500 calories, or I can up your cardio. I can up the calories we burn through cardio. And so when we do the burning of those calories of cardio prior to weight training, it uses up our muscle glycogen. Cognitively, if it's just a little bit of cardio, it might wake you up. But if it's a lot, it's going to tire you out. You're not going to feel... I mean, basically, I said, your life depends on you squatting more than the guy next to you. Are you going to go push the sled first, or are you going to warm up and go straight into the squats?
Straight to squats.
Straight to squats. So, and going straight to squats, not necessarily... I've been saying a lot of words, like squats and bench. I don't have most of my clients do traditional squats or traditional bench press.
I've always been nervous about squats.
It's a good movement to learn functionally. Goblet squats are great, where you just hold a dumbbell in front and you learn the movement. However, squats, deadlifts, bench, those are all very, very intricate movements that powerlifters spend decades trying to perfect. In your plan, I think we either have Smith squats or hack squats, or
either or, yeah.
Either or. And the reason that we do them in a machine, people might think, oh, machines aren't as good. Machines are great for what machines are designed to do. Machines will allow you to push very hard and become an expert at the movement very quickly. And what that does is that allows you to build a lot more muscle in a lot shorter of a time frame. If you are trying to become big and muscular simply through squatting, like Sean, it might take you a year to become efficient with squats to where we can really start building significant muscle. Whereas with a hack squat or a Smith squat, I think you can become proficient with that within 2 to 3 training sessions. You're looking at like 1 to 2 weeks versus a year. So, yeah. So the biggest thing for you is, I think you need to surrender to the process and let it happen. And then you come back to me with the feedback. If you do everything I've asked you to the dot, and in a month we don't have some phenomenal results, 1, I owe you your money back, and 2, I really missed the mark. But I've only had that with 1 client out of over 400. And she had a very specific hormone disorder that I had to go figure out. I had to do some additional coaching to find out why my normal methods of figuring people out did not work. And now that's allowed me to work with 4 or 5 other women that had PCOS and have results. But with her, so unless you're one of the 400 that my methods just do not work for, this will work for you. And then with the feedback, we can make it more tailored to you. If you don't love the Say Grace and you want to do the Gardein, like I said, I want your diet to be about 80% healthier, cleaner, good performance food. Like if you were a robot and taste didn't matter to you, or let's say like you got $100 million on the line to have the best body or the best health, that's the food that I want 80% of that to be. The other 20%, whatever the hell makes you happy. If you eating Gardein chicken tenders or Oreos or ice cream in a measured out fashion each night allows you to stay on your meal plan 100% for all the other meals, we'll build that food in. I have no problem with that. I used to do that myself. I loved ice cream, so I would just like have what I don't even like 2 servings of ice cream, whatever that was at the time, every night. But the rest of my diet, I was like, I'm eating clean and healthy and all the other meals so that I can have that little space for that ice cream each night. And it's about building out what you can work with and what you're excited about. Same thing with the sleds. Like if you love the sleds, I don't want to cut that out. If that makes you happy and makes you feel good, let's keep it in. But the base should be things that are working towards your goals.
Is there such thing as too much cardio, aside from the fact of not doing it before I do the weightlifting? Could I do too much? Could that derail what I'm looking to do if I do too much cardio?
In the short term, no. In the long term, I'm going to say it's a strong it depends. Just things like getting steps in, or even like walking on a treadmill or a slight incline on a treadmill, those are not very stress-inducing. So our bodies, they respond to what we do by different mechanisms. When you lift weights, your body creates localized inflammation. Some of the swelling that you see in your muscles is not just blood, it's actual inflammation. And so what does your body do when there's inflammation? It's like, oh, let's go heal that. Let's send fresh blood there. Let's send nutrients and protein there. We're going to go heal that spot and make it stronger. So if you take ibuprofen immediately after training, it negates your muscle building. It gets rid of that inflammation. Your body's like, oh, we don't need to heal that. Just let it go. From the cardio side, to get back to your question, being more pertinent here instead of just spreading information, if we do low intensity cardio, like steps or walking, your body doesn't really have a big cortisol spike to that. It doesn't have a huge metabolic adaptation either. So if you're like, I love to walk, I'm going to just go walk for an extra hour tonight, that's fine. However, if your cardio is sled pushing and you're pushing hard, it almost becomes, from a recovery standpoint, similar to lifting weights. For most people, I like them to have them at 4 to 5 sessions of intense training per week, whether that's pushing the sled, cardio style like CrossFitters, or lifting weights. So if you're already lifting weights 4 or 5 times a week, and now you're adding 4 to 5 separate sled pushing on top of that, it's going to fry your CNS. You're going to start to see your training performance get worse. Even though you're working harder and doing more, your results are going to get worse.
Sorry, what's CNS?
Central nervous system.
Gotcha.
How hard powerlifters, they have a very strong CNS. They can go in and command their body to lift through the use of their brain more than just like what their body has physically built, if that makes sense. It's almost like a higher consciousness for getting the most out of the muscle that you have. But if you use it too much, it kind of backfires and it'll just tire you out, and you haven't lost muscle, but you just can't push hard. From other cardio like jogging or biking, if you do so much of it, like in prep, this can happen with competitors, and your food is really low, your cortisol can get high, which then might drive down testosterone, drive down other hormones that you need to recover and be strong. So it's rare, but some people can do too much cardio.
Like I feel like I've been getting into a groove with my cardio. Once again, aside from the fact that I'm doing it before my workout, I have, you prescribed that I do cardio 30 minutes on elliptical, 30 minutes on you mentioned bike, and I think you said treadmill on an incline. Am I making that last one up?
I think I gave you 30 to 45 minutes, one of those two numbers, but it would have been able to be spread upon either of those machines.
Yeah, I know for a fact it was 30 for one.
Okay.
And then, it might have been 45 total. 15 minutes maybe for the other one.
I tried something new with you, which is something I do with myself. Like, you do like 2/3 of your cardio on one piece, so like 30 minutes on the bike, and then 15 minutes walking. And then you've done 45 minutes walking on an incline treadmill. You've done 45 minutes, but it doesn't quite feel like it because you weren't just stuck there doing the same thing for all 45.
So, with that being said, what I've kind of stepped into that I enjoy, because I also use it at times to like kind of clear my mind, is doing a full hour on the elliptical and then going to work out. Could I still do that but save it for the end of my workout?
You could. I would say, and this is where it's hard for me as a coach, like I want to tell you the absolute best perfect way to do things, but sometimes the 95% way is the best perfect way for you. If in your schedule you only have that one time block, if you're a busy person and you work all day and you only have that morning time and you're going to train and then do your cardio immediately after, that's like your A- student. They're showing up, they're still doing everything. Could be a little bit better. An A+ student would either do their cardio in the morning for an hour and then train in the evening, or train in the morning and do the cardio in the evening. That would be your A+ student. But you know what? A-, they say C's get degrees, but A- is still fucking great. I will never complain if a client does what you just said. If they're going to do their training and then cardio immediately after.
I like that. I could do that because I like that morning time to kind of just clear my head. Lately, I've been transcribing in my watch so I can turn it into notes for stuff I'm doing. Just listen to my. All right, I like that. I could align to that.
And so this is where my value as a coach comes. I could tell you to do the perfect plan, but let's be real. Not everybody can devote their life to the physique they want. Not everybody's a pro bodybuilder that makes their money through how they look. So if we find you a plan that is able to be applied to you 100% and gets you 98% of the results, it's better than me giving you a plan that's perfect, but you can only follow it half the days. So
what I will say is the videos on the bodybuilding vegan community are amazing. No. But it's really helped me out because that's always been my challenge with doing workouts. Like even back in the day before I worked with you, like looking at men's fitness and men's health and looking at the latest exercises and all these apps, it's always been hard for me to do it in real time. But I like the way this is for the ones the split that I did. I would literally watch the exercise on my phone, because now I have two phones, which is freaking amazing for me. So I have one phone that I can keep playing my music.
Yep.
And then I have this phone now that I have literally on my tripod watching the video, like almost like a stand.
Yep.
And then I get it. Once I get it, and it's like, all right, I go and do the exercise. But then the last pause before my last set, like my pause, that's what you call it, right?
Your rest. Yeah.
My rest. I will watch the next video, and then I'll get it in, and then like, all right, I got it. So then I do my last set, and then jump right into the next exercise. Perfect. And then I just repeat that, and that's worked for me. The only issue I had was with the leg, because I did the leg split as well. I didn't record it though. Was I couldn't figure out the hip thrust. Okay. I didn't see machine, and you mentioned some options, but I didn't know what they were I didn't know fully what they were to be able to do them. Like you said, if you don't have this, you can use this and this, and I didn't know what that and that was.
Okay. I'll need to refresh those community videos. I think if memory serves me, you have the hip thrust machine, you have the barbell hip thrust, or the Smith machine hip thrust. So there's different ways we can. I think
you were doing the Smith machine hip thrust in the video, correct?
Yes. So we should. Your gym has a Smith machine and it has the bench, so you should be able to set that up.
But I was at.
Oh, you're at a different gym.
I was at the Powerhouse, and I think they did have a hip thrust machine.
I know.
But I was looking at it and I was like, I don't know how the hell this works, and this is intimidating. I'm gonna skip this exercise.
Then that's great feedback, because we should probably go film and get it on a machine, and not just for you, but for all the other community members that might be something they need. Mm-hmm. So.
But everything else I was able to do.
Great feedback. And I've actually heard this from another client. Once you get the workouts down to where you feel comfortable with them, then that's where we can really start working together for two reasons. One, you won't have to watch your video. You can do like my other client. What he does is he goes back and he reads my feedback from the week prior. Mm-hmm. So when he's going to do his Smith incline next week, I already know. I said, your hands look a little wide, dude. Let's bring them in a little bit. So he's going to go read that right before his next set. So he'll remember. Or he won't even have to remember, because it's there for him to help him have exactly the cues and the feedback he needs. Or let's say the next step, once we get form and everything down perfect, which you start sending me videos, we can do that in a month. We can have your form down just about perfect within a month. Once you have it perfect, that's my favorite part. That's when I say, okay, Sean, you gave me 10 reps with 100 pounds today. I want to see. I want to push this. I want you to go, because this is a leg extension. This is safe to go to failure. I want you to hype yourself up. Think about the biggest change you want to see in the world, and if you got 15 reps with good form and you didn't lose the safety aspect, you had your form locked in, could you do 15 or more reps with the same weight you did for 10 reps last week? And you know what happens 99% of the time?
You get it.
You get it. And you realize, holy shit, I'm so much stronger than I ever gave myself credit for.
And I have all the little motivation. It's December 11th.
Let's do it. We are almost to Dinos. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I think this will be eye-opening for anybody else that's considering getting into working with a coach, and seeing even someone like yourself that manages other people for a living, how difficult it is to surrender into that being managed. But I can say, like I was telling you, I almost had a panic attack. I didn't know how I was going to train the way my coach wanted me to train, how I was going to eat the way he wanted me to eat. It was all different than everything I knew. Mm-hmm. Within a week, it was habit. And guess what? I was making progress I had never made before. And guess what? y'all are still getting some of the workouts and some of the food that guy gave me 5 years ago.
Wow.
Because it fucking works. And I've seen it work on hundreds of people now. And I've found other ways. I've worked with another coach. And I've taken things that I learned on my own before that and things that my clients have brought me. And that's my value. Is not what I just know from myself. Because I've taught myself how to grow my body. But I have to go and work with the feedback from people like you. Find the mental blocks, find the physical blocks. Everybody's built differently, both in their brain and in their body. And that's what I get to do as a coach, is figure you out. Find the motivation, find the areas that you struggle with the most, and find different ways. It's almost like I'm building maps and everybody lives on a different world. So I gotta go build everybody a little bit of a different map so they can get to where they want to go. So thank you for being vulnerable. Not many people have the balls to do this. Figuratively, ladies, I don't expect you to have balls. You can still be vulnerable and open up. But it's not easy to say, I could have done this better. I need to do this more. I'm going to hold you to it, Sean. December 11th is coming, whether or not you want it to, whether or not you're ready.
No, I'm ready. That's, oof.
Then I want to see it.
Yeah.
I want to start getting those video check-ins. I need your weekly check-ins. Let's figure out your diet. I know oranges are out. And we'll... I think around December 11th, we'll have a very different YouTube video to show. So, thank you, brother.
Appreciate you.
Who are we going to send it to?
We're going to send it to Alex's Ghost.
Let's go get a salad.
Let's do it.